Okay, guys and gals, I've been waiting over 2 years to replace this bearing. Took a picture of it when I took it off so I knew how to put it back on. If you'll see, there's no gap between the bearing and the crankshaft there, so I wanted to make sure that I put it on the same orientation. The old bearing, you see in the races inside, they're plastic cages. There's a plastic cage there. They're metal ball bearings, but they're plastic cage. The new one has metal cages. It's got to be better, right? It's a Koyo. Sounds like a good brand. I don't think there's a right way or wrong way to put this in, but this one had the writing. What side was it? The writing on this bearing was down. So I'm going to put this one with the writing down. And I saw on YouTube, there's a guy out there that works in a shop, and he puts these things in with a ball peen hammer. Any hammer would work, but and something to drive it with. He had a socket like this one, but I have this Harbor Freight press that I bought years ago just to do one job. I wanted to take a bearing out of or press a bearing in on a wheel bearing on my car, and I've done several since then, but I don't use it very often. But just that first job paid for this press, and I've used it, I don't know, a few dozen times since. But since I have it, I'm going to use it, and hopefully this thing will go in without crank it on here. There's just a I'll show you up here, there's a bottle jack, really is all it uses. It presses the thing down. So I'm going to, and this is the, turn it one way, you release it, turn it this way, cranks it down. Got it lined up perfectly here. I wish I had the metal plate to put in here, but it's big enough. I don't think it's going to cause an issue with this socket. I'm going to move it just a little bit so it lines up. There it goes. And it's sliding in. See if you guys can see this. This is so fulfilling. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. Keep on it going. Oh, that is so much easier than pounding it with a hammer. And what he did is he got it part way. I'm going to release this just to see what it looks like. I've got enough room to keep on going with that socket, pretty sure. But what he did is he put another bearing on top like that. And I don't have enough room. Do I? Oh, it's not going to fit. I think I have enough room to just keep on pressing it on. How deep is that socket? I only have to go about another 3/4 of an inch. I think we can keep on going with just this. Let me tighten it back down. Turn the oval in here. Okay, here we go. Pull that back down. Come on. Get close. That's it. It's totally down there. So I'm going to release it. If you guys can see, Unless it's heavy, but it looks good. All right. How cool is that? There's the new bearing. Smooth as butter. It looks good. Now we're going to put on this new gear that I bought. I bought it because I was worried that the old one might fracture, or it probably won't, but it had some threads on it that were wearing, and it seemed a little loose when I was taking it off, so I thought, let's put a new one on there. Even though I'm not going to use it, I will use it to stuff the engine case so the compression is similar. Okay, I didn't show you this, but there was the slightest bit of a gap between the crankshaft and that bearing. I mean, it was very tiny, but I thought, you know what? I think it needs to be tight. So I took it back over on my press and I put that extra bearing, the old bearing, on top, and just to make sure I had enough clearance for my socket, and punched it down, and it made one last little move. It kind of dinged, slid down that last little 10,000th of an inch or whatever it was, but now it's tight down there, and I think it looks great. Spins beautifully. One step down, probably 500 more to go. Now, there's a retaining clip that has to go right in there. Now I just got to figure out where I put that. Okay, I found the clip. Do you think I can put that on with just my fingers? I don't remember how we took it off. I think I used a screwdriver. Whoa! I think I'm going to need something like that. Yeah. Alright. I don't know if I have a tool that can slip in there. I got to find a way to spread that apart and snap it in there. Pretty sure I just used a screwdriver to take it out, but let's see what we can figure out. Well, I have several different snap ring pliers, but I don't have anything that will work with that. I can pull that apart a little bit with my hands, but not enough. And if you use this screwdriver, it starts to come apart. This is where I need my buddy to put another screwdriver in there for me. Oh, Ty, where are you, bud? Bennett? Huddy? Jace? Man. Don't want to scratch my bearing. What's the proper way, guys? I don't want to ruin that thing. Wow. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go look at YouTube, see if there's a cheat way to do this. Okay, good old YouTube says you can get a snap ring pliers like this and just pry it apart. $5 tool, except mine doesn't have the range to go that far. So I've got another one. Doesn't have the range. I've got another one. Oh man, this is gonna work. This is gonna work, right? Oh yeah, but you can't get it on there, so you go right on the tips here. Not enough range, again. I have 7 pairs of snap ring pliers, and none of them are big enough. Do I go buy another tool so it's... Maybe I have to. If I could put like a shim or something in between there and just pry it apart with that. Let's see. Certainly don't have to go... You know, if I have to buy another $5 tool, I'll do it, but... A little frustrating. Okay, so this process has been taking the longest of anything I've done yet so far in this motor. And it should be super simple. You're just putting this thing on. There's probably a tool that works. I don't know. I can't find anything on YouTube on how to do it. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to got this large socket. This surface here is tapered, so it should, if you force it, it should kind of force this open and snap it down in there. I'm not going to pound it like crazy. I just want to see if we can get it to go over there. Got my dead blow hammer here. We'll see what happens. It's not, I wish it would line up better than that, but I don't feel like getting my fingers pinched either. Ooh. Nothing. Alright, did kind of open it. And I don't want to... Is that dirt coming out of my socket? Where's that coming from? Socket's clean. I don't want to get dirt in my bearing. You know what I could do? Put it on my press. That way it wouldn't be jarring it. That might be the way to go. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in my press. Alright, so got the snap ring there. Drop this down. Got enough range here. Man, I might not. We're gonna be close. All right, so we're gonna move this so it's lined up a little better. It couldn't have been that easy. Check that out. That was a piece of cake. Make sure it's all the way in there with a screwdriver, but I think it's good. So I just want to make sure that that snap ring is in there, and so I just tapped it with a screwdriver. It slides around. So I think it's in there. I don't think it's going to pop out. I would say it's in there. Don't know if you can see this, but the inside of that spring is touching the inside of the track that it goes to, so it's as tight as it's going to go, so it's good. Sorry about the wobbly camera. Okay, we're going to replace the main bearings. One here and one here. That's where the old ones were. I must have tossed them already. Could be around here somewhere. No, they're right here. Got them sitting in the block. But here's the new ones. Let me cut this bag open. There's a retaining clip on it already. There's actually an orientation to these. You'll see there's a smaller distance on this bearing on the lower part, so the smaller part goes down. This is larger. It's a little bit see, the ring is not exactly in the center. It's a little bit off center, so this lower, the smaller part goes down. So take this ring apart, and these are the needles that go on the inside. These bearings. Boy, they don't, it's not cracked. I'm gonna see if I can not crack them apart. There we go. And these are built in one piece. They're fractured. There's a machine that breaks them in half because you want the inside smooth, and it'll only go one way. Don't make it go the other way. Only go one way. And so we definitely have to orient that correctly. Small side down. Looks good. And then put the ring back on. Come back there. Hold on. There we go. Let me scratch that. You want to, you don't want the clip, you want to be able to span that fracture. Okay, that looks good. These holes line up in the block. There's pins on the block, so you can't put it in wrong. If you do, it'll bind and it will not go in correctly. So make sure, on mine anyway, according to what I've read, is that these small side goes down. So do the same thing on this one. I'll double check it when I put it in. I'm not going to force it. I'll make sure that's the way it goes. But your engine might be different. This is what mine is, apparently. Hey, just want to let you know, I've never rebuilt one of these motors. So you're taking advice. If you're watching me, take it for what it is. I understand how they go together. I understand how they work. But I might be doing something wrong. So this is just for your entertainment. We'll see if it works or not. And come on. I don't want to break. I don't want to bend that any more than I have to. How come the other one came apart so easily? I just want to be careful. Probably just pull it and it'll come apart. But go. Go. All right, so can you see where this one's going? Hold on a second. It's got to go up here. Sorry about that, guys. All right, this goes on here, these needles. Mine has a little bit of oil on them already. I'll make sure I get oil in there when I put it in the block. Small side down, this bearing. Looks good. And we'll put this guy in there. Oh, come back here. Cool. There we go. Looks good. All right. On to the next step. Okay, I've been dreading this part for a long time, and I've been agonizing on what to do. I wanted to rebuild the motor with the oil pump, because the boat ran for 10 plus years on the original oil pump. But what happens is these things can go bad. They can overheat, and as you can see, it's the threads. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they have started to chip away. And is that why this thing went bad? I'll show the other half of the. This is what it drives. This sits on the shaft, and this goes through the block. And it's when this spins, it spins the oil pump gear. Well, and I broke this taking it out. This sleeve should be one piece. I bought another one, and then I decided, you know what? Someday it's probably going to fail again, and it might not be me. It might be the next guy. I don't know if I'll have this for 10 years or not, but I'd rather have it reliable out in the middle of the lake, miles away. I'd rather have it be more reliable, so I am going to not use the oil pump. There's a delete kit that you can buy, and basically it's just a plug that goes in the engine block. And we'll do a video on that later, and I was going to put this in because I've talked to people, and they says, it's good to keep it in there just for stuffing. Stuffing is the amount of material inside the block, so it doesn't change that volume, so it's more similar to what it was when it was built. So I'm going to put this back in, but then I thought, well, do I want one that's been chipped already? Could it peel off and get little pieces of plastic in my engine? I don't want to do that either. So I bought a new one. It's $100 just for a new one, and I bought the newer style. This one has like pegs on the ends that it pegs together. That's about the only. That's not the only difference. I've also saw where the screws are a little bit smaller, and if you can see that or not, the screws are smaller, and the nuts that they go into are a little bit different style. So it's a little different style, but it does the same thing. But here's what is bothering me. My manual shows that you need to put number 7, which is Loctite 271. You can see that here. This is Loctite 271. Goes on the screw, and this 92 is Loctite 7694 primer. I'm thinking, what in the world would you want to put primer on a screw before you put Loctite in it? I think, wouldn't the Loctite be stronger than the primer? But this is a special type of primer. I did a little research, and Loctite makes this primer. It's like an accelerant. It actually speeds up the drying time. Apparently, the Loctite, there's all kinds of different flavors. They call for Loctite 271 on this application for this screw, but they call for this primer to put on those bolts first. Now, I watched Loctite's video on how to use this stuff, and they show someone spraying this primer on a rod, a steel rod, and then they put the Loctite, and it wasn't 271, it was, I can't remember, 644. I don't know what it was. It was different, but they put the Loctite on the washer that they were going to test this on, and when they slid it together, he turned it a couple times, and with 30 seconds, that thing was melded. I mean, it was welded on there. And it's not welded on. You could probably knock it off with a hammer or something, but you don't have much time to get that stuff on. It's going to lock right up. So I want to make sure that I have enough time. I have to spray this on the screw, and then put the Loctite on, and then screw it in on 2 different screws before it locks and before it dries. And they're saying the reason you do the Loctite primer is because this, whatever it is, the adhesive section of it could take 24 hours to dry or longer. Is that a bad thing? Maybe I should just wait, because I'm not going to start this engine within 24 hours. But I'm going to go by what the manual says. I'm going to spray some of this stuff on there, put this stuff on there, and if it locks up before I get it tight, I guess I'll have to take it apart and do it again. But so I don't know how fast it's going to dry. So you guys get to watch this. If it's boring, I'll just fast forward it. So I'm going to get to live and learn here. Man. Let me find something to spray this on instead of my... hold on, I'm going to find something to spray this so I don't hit my engine. Alright, we're going to take our Loctite. On both sides. I don't know, it's just... Is that enough? I don't know. Hope so. Then, I guess... I think I'm going to put it in this guy first. And then I will put some on each screw. You guys see that? It's kind of tricky. All right, here we go. I hope I can do it right. All right, is this stuff coming out? Do I have to crack it open? Hold on, I gotta find a pin to open this thing up. Okay, I just cut the end off with a pair of scissors. There's just a tip on the end, so it's still a tiny little hole there. Alright, so we're going to put this stuff on. Some there, some there. Hope that's enough. Hope it's not too much. We're going to put this on here. It lines up there on the shaft. Got my little Allen wrench. Can you guys see that? Crap, I can't even see it. Hold on. It was two pieces. I slid it on. There's only one spot I can go on this shaft. Turning it. It's not locked up yet. Come on, don't strip. That's tight. I'm going to do the other side. Tighten it down. Do not want these screws coming out. Hope that Loctite does its job. Gonna make sure this is tight. It's on there. All right. So hopefully that Loctite will dry and those screws will not come out and find the internals of my engine somewhere. All right. I hope it works. Okay, so I wanted to explain this gear that slides down into the block. It actually comes through like this. Can you see that? The top half, the other half of the case, it actually slides in there, and out here it actually drives the oil pump, which I have right here. So it spins this little shaft. When the crankshaft spins, this guy spins this, which spins this, which spins this, which spins your pump and lubricates your engine. But when this thing goes bad, this goes bad, doesn't spin the pump, engine doesn't get oil, and on mine, piston number 6 burnt and the crankshaft bent. Destroyed my piston, destroyed the shaft or connecting rod, and destroyed the liner. But I was lucky, it didn't destroy the block. It didn't crack the block, so we put a new liner in and got a new used piston off of eBay and new connecting rod. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking this out, and we'll do this later. You can do this from outside after the engine has been put back together. You don't have to tear the engine apart to do this. You take this shaft off. Once you take the oil pump off, you can take the shaft out, pop this guy in. It's just a plastic plug. It's the same size as that gear shaft there, and it's got an O-ring seal, a couple of screws. You pop that in there, plug off that system so that's not going to spin anymore. But then you have to pre-mix your gas every time. When you go to fill up, you got to figure out how much oil you need to put into your gas tank, or you'll have the same problem. You'll not have enough oil, engine will grenade. So that's the other thing you have to remember. You have to remember to mix your gas. But you know what? When you have a 2-stroke motor of any kind, you have to remember to put the oil in. So, but this is just a step that's going to be a little more of a pain, but it should be more reliable, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, all of you Mercury Marine experts out there that haven't put out any videos, so I don't know how to do this, probably said, hey, you didn't put any oil on these things. Well, before you put them in, yep, I didn't. They have a film of oil on them. I'm looking at the manual, and sure enough, right here, number 14, that's 2-cycle outboard oil. I was supposed to put some on before I put those in there. But there's also holes, and that's how they get the oil. So I'm going to squirt some oil in those holes and spin it. Should be the same effect. I could just take them out, but I can't get this one out now because the gear is there. I have to take the gear off. No, I'm not taking the gear apart. I could get this one off, but I think the same effect will be, let's put some oil through those holes, and I'll make sure that they're oiled up. So, see, that's why you watch a video like this and say, hey, you bonehead, you did it wrong. It's for entertainment purposes. Don't watch what I'm doing. All right, so, that thing's getting heavy. Take this thing off. Flywheel. A nice video they had out there. Guy says, hey, flywheel is a great crankshaft holder. He was right. So, let's see here. Can we see that? See if I can spin this so you can see it. Yeah. So these things still spin, and I can get oil in there. You can see those shafts in there. So we're going to put some oil in there. This is not dishwashing soap. It's 2-stroke oil. Oh yeah, it's going in there nicely. You can see that. You don't want to put too much in. This thing will smoke like a beast. But you know what? I'd rather have it smoke like a beast than be dry. I'll put up with some smoke the first time we fire it up. I'll probably put some more in when I actually put it in the engine block as well. Alright, I'll go this way so you can kind of see. Missed. Guys are always missing. Alright. It's going down in there. You think how much oil is actually in the gas that you're running. I think I'm going to be safe here with enough oil. Probably got too much, but again, I'd rather have too much than not enough. It's looking beautiful. I misspoke a little earlier. I said when the engine went bad, the crankshaft was bent, and it was not. It was the one journal that cylinder number 6 is on. The connecting rod scratched. I don't know which one it is. It was this one. I believe that's the right one. So this guy was on there, and it smacked it a few times. Didn't really hurt it, but it was scratched. It was bad enough there. I didn't want to put a new or a different connecting rod on without getting that fixed. So in this channel on these, what do they call these? Cylinder rings. There are rings that separate each cylinder in the block. It was a little tight because it was this little groove was bent. It was bent in a little bit. Sent the crankshaft to a company in California. They re-welded this on, ground it back down, hardened it. I don't know the procedure, and then they fixed this too, and it came back looking like it was brand new. So they seem to do a great job. They actually build racing motors for Mercury and others, so they know what they're doing. Hopefully. So my manual says, hey, when you're taking this apart, don't take these rings off unless you're replacing them. Well, I'm not really replacing them, but I couldn't, when I sent this crankshaft out, the company didn't want anything on it, no bearings, no anything, so I took my rings off because I didn't want them getting lost or bent or whatever. So now I need to put them back on, and I did not number them, so I don't have the order right. I mean, I didn't really shuffle them like a deck of cards on my bench, but I don't know if this is this one or if it's this one. And I can't really see any marks where it was damaged. You know, it wasn't really damaged, it was just fitting slightly tight where it's supposed to slide in that groove, and it wasn't sliding anymore. So I don't think it's damaged. I just don't know which one's which. I hope they're all identical. So we're going to put them back in order this way. Number 1. Number 2. Or maybe that's number 6. Guys seeing that? Yeah, it's not very good, but here's the ring. They go in the block, they'll get squished in together. There isn't one on that guy. Or is there? No. All right. They all seem to spin okay. They were all good before. The only one that was bad was this one. And like I said, it was in there, but it wouldn't spin. They have to spin. good. Well, guys, I put this gear on wrong. It's supposed to fit over top of this, and I put it this way, so I put it on backwards. How come you guys didn't tell me? I'm sure there's Mercury outboard mechanics screaming, saying, you did it wrong. Well, now we're going to have to take this apart and see how strong this Loctite is. Guess we'll get to test it. Oh, baby, it's on there. I might need a wrench. Hold on a sec. Wrench or vice grips. I think that Loctite works. Hope I can take this off without stripping it. I can't get the other end of the wrench in there to get some more leverage. It's too far down in there. Oh, it turned. There we go. All right, let's go the other side, and then we can spin the rest out by hand. Come on. Whoa. Yeah, it was on there pretty tight. Let me see how it's turning. I mean, I don't know. Did that stuff cure? Guess we'll take a look at the screw and see if it looks like it's got any hardened 271 Loctite on it. All right, here we go. Come on apart. Yeah, it looked like it hardened. Look at that. It's hard. And you know the screws that I took out, the old screws, they look like that as well. They had like a plastic film on it, like those have. Yeah, so now I've got to clean these off and do it all over again, so I'm not going to bore you with me cleaning them. I have a tap and die set. Well, maybe I will. I'll show you how I clean the old ones. I'll bring this back and show you. Well, my tap and die set didn't quite have the right size tool for these screws. It seemed like it was 32 threads per inch, but 8 seemed a little too loose and 6 seemed a little too tight, and I didn't want to cut new threads using a number 6, but the 8 wouldn't really clean it either. So what I did is I took the little nut that was in the gear here out. I put them in originally. It came separated. So then I'm just using that to chase back and forth to clean that glue out of here. Because I don't want to cut new threads. I just want to get that glue out of there. They're the Loctite 271. I think it definitely does the job though, and now we know that I have a little bit of time before it gets hard, so we'll spray these again like we did before, and see how it has that hardened 271 on there. It's definitely, I tighten it finger tight as hard as I could get with my fingers, and I couldn't get it off with my fingers. I had to use this wrench to turn it. So, and it's, yeah, it's that definitely don't strip that, John. I don't think it's gonna vibrate off, put it that way. I'm gonna continue to clean this and I'll put it back together. Okay, round 2. We've got our Loctite 7649 primer. It's an accelerant. It helps accelerates the the speed of the Loctite adhesive, it'll speed up the drying time. Apparently some of them, and I don't know how long 271 takes, some of them can take 24 hours or longer to cure. And I don't care if mine takes 24 hours, I just want to make sure it cures as hard as it should. So, yeah, what I did was I had, hold on, this time you're going to get to see what I did. I put the gear on like this. There's a, a little cutout there that fits in. Like that. But it's supposed to go like this. Fits over top of this ring. Oh yeah, that fits so much nicer. Doesn't wiggle at all. My other one wiggled, so I think it's a good idea that I replaced it. That thing doesn't wiggle even when it's, well, we'll see when we get it tightened. So, just want to make sure that I can get that on there in enough time. Got my Allen wrench. I'm going to put some Loctite back on the screws. It's usually just on the end that we need some here. Alright, I'm going to go all the way around this time too. We know it's not going to dry just sitting there. Alright, there it is. Now, come on, baby. Am I getting that in the right? Oh, no, let's go this way. Sorry guys, I'm not getting a great video, but I don't want to mess this up again. Alright, that's through there. Now, slide it over the ring. Like that. Slide this one over the ring. Like that. Let's screw it in. All right, other side. One more time. Yeah, that doesn't move at all. And, you know, my old one did. So I think it's a good idea that I replaced it. This one was kind of moving on that metal, so it was definitely worn. It doesn't look like it, but it wasn't fitting on. It wasn't fitting like this one. All right, I like it. I like it, soldier.